Today's generation has Spotify at their fingertips. Almost 60% of the world uses this app to stream music. It has a wide variety of collections, starting from the new artist to the top ones. It is known to be the biggest streaming platform in the world based on the number of subscribers. It is famous among people for its easy-to-use interface. It is also available in an accessible mode. The free version comes with a much inferior music quality and a hell lot of advertisements. It was founded by two Swedish men, Martin Lorenzo and Daniel Ek. Both of them wanted a solution to the increasing online music piracy during the early 2000s. But sources say that Spotify has risen using illegal ways. To what extent did Spotify go to get such a label? Hey there, welcome back. I hope you all are doing well. Today we will discuss all the illegal ways that Spotify has implemented to gain success in such a short time. At one point in time, when Daniel was facing a lot of problems in his life, a service called Napster became very popular. Through this app, people can share files with one another very easily. Well, this meant that people were able to transfer MP3 music files using this service, and that too for free. Soon after that, the record company sued Napster into oblivion. But the problem did not end there. Several other services like Napster popped up in the market, such as LimeWire and Kazaa, along with websites like Pirate Bay. It was very much evident that in this era of advanced technology, the music industry had nothing that they could do to put a stop to this matter. Daniel Ek was a huge fan of music, and he took advantage of these free services. Even though he was a fan of these, he realized that these services are harmful to the music industry. Gradually, the sales of the records were deteriorating every year. Therefore, Daniel came up with a solution. He created a service that was better than Napster in various ways, and it would also help the artists to earn money from their music. He imagined a service where people could get access to any kind of music within the blink of an eye. This would be legal as the advertisements would sponsor it, and a certain percentage of that revenue would be used to pay the artists. Hence, the concept of Spotify took birth. Daniel was sure of the fact that this was a win-win situation for the users, as well as the music industry from the threat of piracy. Therefore, he was confident that at least the record companies would be on the same side. But things didn't go as planned. If Daniel had the tiniest bit of idea how things were gonna get controversial, he would have never started Spotify in the first place. Along with this friend, Martin, they spent the whole summer of 2006 trying to recruit the best coders they could find. Later on, Martin became the co-founder of Spotify. They understood that before going to the record companies for their validation, they needed to create a great working prototype of their products. And in order to do that, they would have to download tons of songs illegally. How ironic. These songs would help them to work on developing Spotify and create a working prototype that is filled with songs. Here, the thing was that the music industries could not be convinced without actually developing the service. And to build it, one would need the music. Therefore, they were forced to download songs worth millions of dollars. The team put in all their effort that summer to build up Spotify clients. They used to work long days and long nights at the office. After everyone finished their work, they would often stay back to play some kind of sport, such as football or poker. As they spent the majority of the time of their day with one another, the team became like a small family. Within a few months of their hard work, they came up with the first ever version of Spotify. It was brilliantly created with an amazing search engine and had great playlist features. The model was a sleek professional. It even had a separate page for artists and albums. How amazing! Each of the sections was arranged pretty neatly. The most intriguing feature of this was when tapped on a song. It began within a fraction of a second. Back then, it was a huge issue because the internet was very slow, so Spotify was curated in such a way that the music files were downloaded in small pieces while the user was listening to the song. This implied that there was no waiting for it. After finally coming up with the platform, they sent out several beta invites to some people for feedback and review. And fortunately, the people who used the platform seemed to love it. The fact that the platform was loved by all made Daniel really happy, but there was one thing that he had hidden from his team: the negotiations with the record companies. The companies did not agree to their process of downloading music from pirated sites. Now there are three major record labels known as the Big Three: Warner, Universal, and Sony. Getting all these three on board for the success of Spotify was quite a difficult job. Therefore, Daniel had been moving from one part of the world to the other, arranging several meetings. In these meetings, he would introduce the idea of free music, which would be sponsored by the advertisements, and that a huge percentage of the revenue would be received by the record label. However, as soon as the companies heard the word free, they would either lose interest or would get furious. The companies said that there should be a fixed rate for each song every time anyone streamed. This could leave Spotify in very poor condition. They were not certain of the revenue from the advertisements. Now Daniel had to come up with something quickly as their funds were running out, which made him anxious. Undoubtedly, the platform was eventually, but it looked like it was dead even before it was launched. Finally, in the end, they found a solution to this. Daniel also included a paid version of this platform for a fixed monthly rate. Next, the company said that they would take 70% of whatever revenue was generated from the advertisements, along with a huge amount of Spotify stock. This made them question whether they had a sustained business model or not, as they would only be keeping 30% of the revenue. Was that going to be enough for them to cover all their expenses? However, they had no choice but to accept their conditions. The only good news among all this was that Spotify now had the legal rights to use music information in parts of Europe. Until now, they had not got permission from other countries, which will take some more years. At last, in October 2008, Spotify officially launched the Spotify team known as the Big Clean. Here, the people worked to find and remove all the illegally pirated songs from their platforms. With this, Spotify thought that their worries were over, but that was not the case. The music industry would threaten Spotify's team to seize their license if they did not incorporate the features as per their wish. They felt so annoyed with their continuous interruption, but they had no choice. They had to succumb to them as they had so much power over the music industry. Another time, when the companies got to know that they were securing more funding from the investors, they attempted to get an even bigger share of that. By then, Spotify has not even been that profitable. Along with the labels, Spotify was also in a fight with the artists. Some of them spoke harshly against the company, and some took back their music catalogs from Spotify. Even famous artists like Taylor Swift said that Spotify devalued the music and thereby pulled off all her songs from Spotify back in 2014. The main problem here was that Spotify did not have any idea about how much the artists got paid. It was all down to their record companies. And the worst thing was all the companies owned shares in Spotify, so they benefited from the growth, but the artists did not. It is estimated that fake streams amount to about $300 million per year. However, as Spotify only kept 30%, they could not do much, no matter how upset the artists were. The people who quit Spotify eventually returned when they realized that getting something was better than getting nothing. So with this, we come to the very end of this video. They indeed used some illegal ways to pave their way to success. The record companies had committed several atrocities toward Spotify, starting from their shares to pulling away artists. But do you think that this would put any hindrance to them in the coming future? Or would they eventually leave Spotify on their own? How would they come out of this situation? Do let us know in the comments below. If you like this video, share it with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more such related content. Hit the bell icon for fresh updates. Thanks for watching.